The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions, without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Eugene Springfield Fire Department, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36579. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. As we look at the face of the front bumper, on the outer edges you'll find dual air horns. Moving just inside that location, you'll find dual electronic sirens. Located directly in the center on the face of the bumper, you'll find your unit identifier 14. Moving up onto the bumper extension on the passenger side is where your fire bell is located. Just inside of that location, you'll find a swivel 1.5" discharge. As we move toward the center of the vehicle, you'll find 2 attachment points. These are rated at 6,000 pounds direct pull and are not intended for towing purposes. As we move toward the center, you'll find a tubbed storage location, Velcro tie downs on top for your front bumper load. Moving to the outer edge, you'll find your mechanical siren. As we move up onto the cab itself, on the outer edge, marker turn indicator. Moving just inside that structure is the headlights. High beam will be located on the inside. Directly above that, you'll find emergency warning lights forward facing. As we move directly behind the Pierce logo, that is the release mechanism to gain access inside the hood area. As we move up to the windshield, there are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. And as you move to the mirror, you'll find a convex and flat mirror. Moving to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 ID clearance lights. And then just above that, you'll find 3 forward-facing floodlights. As we move up to the top of the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar in the center is where you'll find your Opticom device. Let's move back down just inside the windshield area. This is where your Haas system is located. This is the collision system. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, starting with the fire bell on the passenger side. Just inside that location, your front discharge, foam capable. Let's move into the center of the vehicle where you'll find hose storage location, Velcro tie downs, and dry deck material on the base. As we move just inside of that location, you'll find your anchor point. Just as a reminder, these are not intended for towing purposes. And then as we move to the outer edge, you'll find your mechanical siren. As we move to the grille area, directly behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the release mechanism for the hood. We'll go ahead and take a full view of the vehicle now. We'll start next with the cab area and focus in on the area. Let's start with the front bumper extension where you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. As we move toward the door handles, these are easily accessible with a gloved hand and they are also keyed. Right next to those, you'll find the grab handles for gaining entry and exit out of the vehicle, and then also a push-button door lock combination directly behind the driver door. You'll also find 3 side-facing emergency warning lights. As we move to the very bottom section down in the lower right, you'll find your auto eject shoreline inlet, and then just beneath that, you'll find your air auto eject. At the very top over the driver's door, you'll find a side-facing floodlight. And then as we move to the rear cab wall, you'll find an LED water tank level indicator. General view here of the midsection of the vehicle. We'll take a look at the body next. Let's start first with the lower section where we have folding wheel chocks, 1 in front and 1 in rear of the axle. Moving up, you'll find a turn indicator marker light just in front of the axle. Moving up over the rear axle is where you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. You'll also find 2 body side-facing floodlights. And then as we move toward the very top section of the vehicle, you'll find your 2 drafting tubes. And then to the very rear of the apparatus, you'll find a emergency warning light. Let's take a look at the rear of the apparatus. We'll identify a few items within this area, but first let's go to the passenger side of the vehicle. Full view of the vehicle. Same configuration that we have on the cab section as we do on the driver's section. Move to the midsection now. and then we'll take a look at the rear section of the body. Same configuration for compartments on this side as also. Let's move into the driver's space. Let's first start with the door panel on the driver's side, a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window controls, and a grab handle. General view here into the lower section at the base of the seat is where you'll find your auto charge system. When plugged into Shoreline Power, that will become active, maintaining your batteries. Let's move to about the right ankle of the operator, where you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, and VIN number. Also on this placard, you'll find the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and fluid capacity type. Let's move to the floorboard, where you'll find your air horn and mechanical siren foot pedal. As we move to about the left knee of the operator, we're going to find the tech module, engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, and display port, your ABS diagnostic switch, engine diagnostic switch, regen inhibit, and DPF regen switch. As we move to the steering column, you'll find steering controls here for your windshield wipers, electronic, and also emergency lights and activation warning device. As we move to the dash on the left, you'll find your four-way flasher, start ignition switch, switch labeled EM, which stands for emergency master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights. Headlight switch and panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. To the right, you'll find your OK to engage your high idle indicator and switch. As we move to the gauges, you'll find your transmission, oil, def level, and water temperature. On the right, you'll find front air, rear air, fuel, and volts. Located in the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and below the speedometer. Let's take a quick look here just to the right of the dash area for a general view. We'll go ahead and get started with the Pierce Command Zone. It is the display monitor. There's also a tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see the owner's manual for more information. Just to the left of that, you'll find the pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It is the yellow diamond on your left. As we move to the right, you'll find the Allison transmission pad, push button, digital readout with an informational note to pump and drive. Also, some switches are located in the upper section. We have our fuel primer, tire chains, load manager, siren brake, clear master, and perimeter lighting. As we move down, you'll find your engine brake on and off, setting switch for low, medium, and high, off-road traction, front wheel lock, and mirror heat. Just to the right of that location, you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump and also instructions from pump to road. Just as a reminder, you need 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump when exiting the cab for pump operations. We also have some caution and warning placards located in this area. Mirror controls for the left and right mirrors. As we move to the forward section, you'll find climate control, heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Looking toward the top section over the driver's space, let's start first with the height of the vehicle. 10 feet, 4.25 inches. Length of the vehicle, 31 feet, 7 inches. Gross vehicle weight rating, 49,800 pounds. If you make any adjustments that may change any of these numbers, please update this placard. As we move further to the right, a switching panel. Let's start first with the emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, rear warning, rear blue, high beam flash, and Opticom. When any of these switches have been activated, the outer edge will illuminate, indicating that it is on. Let's move further to the right, where we have the driver's side cab scene light, the front scene, passenger cab scene, a dimmer for your emergency lights, driver's side body scene, rear scene, passenger side body scene, and backup alarm override. Just to the right, you'll find your siren control module for your PA speaker system and also electronic siren. Seatbelt information placard indicating red, someone is in the seat and not belted, green, they are in the seat and belted. As we move to the very center, you'll find this red light illuminating. Do not move your apparatus when this light is on, indicating you have a compartment or door open. Just in front is the Haas traffic collision system. As we move to the rear, you'll find map book storage locations in the center area,
Directly behind the driver's seat, you'll find the audible speaker, volume control on the face of the speaker for your backup camera. Also, you'll find your manual handle tilt for cab tilt. And then also when plugged into Shoreline Power, this outlet becomes active, allowing you to access and charge your batteries with your battery charging system. Let's move to the exterior now, to the front axle, where you'll find a visual sight gauge in the center axle, also Alcoa wheels and Goodyear tire. As we move to the rear section of the driver's seat, this is the push button for your electronic locks, and then also an additional access door here, dry deck material, LED lighting inside that area. As we move to the rear cab, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, and electric window controls. As we move overhead, you'll find your air conditioning unit, push on or off red or white lens lights overhead, 2 forward-facing SCBA seats. As we look to that pedestal on the very back, just to the driver's side, you'll find an additional pack location storage. As we move to the pedestal area for the 2 forward-facing seats, just underneath those, you'll find lift and turn latch gains you access into this area. There is also an outlet, Shoreline Power, and then also a 12-volt bus panel located in the very rear section for additional items, 12 volt. As we move to the forward section, you'll find lift and turn latch gains you access to the daily checks for oil and transmission. This is the rear portion of the engine. As we move forward to that location, MacBook storage. And then also let's move exterior now to those Shoreline inlet, auto eject plug 20 amp, and then also an air eject. Let's move down to the pump panel. We'll start at the very top. D-handle gains us access to the left of this grab handle. This is where your crosslay is located. There are 2 located in the crosslay. Crosslay 1 and crosslay 2, they are both foam capable, indicated by the red writing on the tag itself. Let's move just to the right of this location to the pump panel, where you'll find at the very top left a placard indicating the foam system instructions, also a warning placard indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move down, the red module is going to be your Husky 12 foam system. As we move to the very top section, you'll find the foam level for tank A. As we move further to the right in the gray area, you'll find your master intake gauge. Right next to that, to the right, is your master discharge gauge. In between the 2 of those gauges is where you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged, and these are utilized for testing purposes. As we move further to the right, you'll find your water tank level indicator. And then as we move down, you'll find some switches for your light panel and air horn. Also a green indicator indicating OK to pump. If you've properly conducted the steps inside the cab, this light will be illuminating OK to pump. To the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Moving just down on the panel, you'll find a warning placard here regarding entanglement hazard. Because those lines coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. Also, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2, foam capable, deluge discharge. As we move further down, you'll find a warning placard here indicating only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. Just below that placard, you'll find an additional placard indicating the minimum operation maintenance schedule, and we'll go over this in just a few moments. Also, our 2.5-inch discharges are color-coded and labeled in this area. Moving just to the right, you'll find the front discharge, and then also drivers A and drivers B pre-connected lines. At the very top section, you'll find an audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate, allowing it to dampen or brighten sound. Real discharge, foam capable, and then also your recirculating line. It is a twist, not a pull. Moving further down, you'll find your tank fill, and then right next to the tank fill, you'll find your engine cooler. That's also a twist, not a pull. As we move down, you'll find the tank to pump. Just information here, in is open and out is closed. Just to the right, you'll find your fire pump primer, push to prime, air prime. For best practices, at least 1,000 RPMs for engaging the air primer. As we move further down, you'll find the 2.5-inch discharges located on the driver's side. You'll also find an air outlet. Moving further down, you'll find a placard here regarding the Watrous, which is the type of pump and transmission that you have for your fire pump. Right next to that, you'll find your auxiliary foam system fill. And then further to the right, you'll find your driver's side auxiliary inlet. It is a 2.5-inch female locally controlled ball valve. Moving further to the right, the electric transfer valve override, and then just up from that location, the Pierce American Flag Eagle. This is your large diameter driver's side inlet. Let's move down to the very bottom section where you'll find the instructions regarding your minimum operation maintenance schedule. Here's a close-up of the items we just talked about. First, driver 1 and driver 3, 2.5-inch discharge. Let's move further down on the pump panel where you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move just to the right of this location, you'll find a warning placard here indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also to the right, you'll find your manual pump shift, and then just beneath that, you'll find the electric transfer valve from pressure to volume. Moving further down, you'll find your main pump drain, and then we'll take a look inside the pan door down at the very bottom section. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the pan door behind the pump panel where you'll find a valve. It does have a yellow handle on it. That handle matches the instructions on the door itself for horizontal position for foam operations, and then also for vertical position, that is for foam filling. Let's move to the running board where you'll find just underneath an additional pull-out style running board for standing on. Just to the right, you'll find your foam pump intake drain and foam pump discharge drain. Just to the right, you'll find the foot pedal for your reel rewind. Let's go ahead and go back to the minimum operation maintenance schedule. This placard is indicated for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi. On the left-hand side, the associated GPM at test pressure. On the right, the associated RPM at test pressure. We do have a govern speed while in pump mode at 2,100 RPM and the 5-digit job number in the upper left. This is the Watrous placard indicating a 2,000 gallon GPM pump. As we move to the vertical side sheet, you'll find your Husky 12 foam system specifications and also instruction placard. Also a placard indicating when climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle while climbing onto it. Let's go ahead and start with a few of the compartments. First, let's start with ventilation in each compartment, adjustable shelving, and also dry deck material and LED lighting. As we move to the forward section just in front of the rear axle, you'll find the fill location for your DEF tank. It is the blue cap. It is a 4.5 US gallon tank, and then as we move just up from that location, you can see SCBA bottle storage. To the rear axle, you'll find Goodyear tires and Alcoa wheels. As we move to the rear of the axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage location for one bottle with a retaining strap, and then also the silver cap, which is your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. As we move to the very rear compartment, once again, adjustable shelving, LED lighting, and dry deck material. As we move inside to the compartment, you'll find a Shoreline outlet. When plugged into Shoreline power, this outlet becomes active. General view here of the entire driver's side of the vehicle with all compartments open. Let's move to the rear of the apparatus and identify a few items. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner with an emergency warning light at the top. As we move further down, you'll find a cover and also your backup camera. Moving further down, you'll find the rear scene lights, and then just underneath those, you'll find a rear-facing emergency warning light. Let's take a look into the covered area of the hose bed. There are 3 dividers located in the rear section. On the left side of the body is where you'll find an additional storage location for long-handled tool storage and then also a hose bundle. Let's move to the very center area where you'll find the driver's pre-connect A and driver's pre-connect B. These are both foam-capable 2.5-inch discharges. As we move to the rear, dry deck material, ventilation, and LED lighting, and an adjustable shelf. 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof, and a 10-foot attic, and also some additional long-handled tool storage. We're now to the passenger side of the vehicle, all compartments open. Let's start at the very rear. We have 3 adjustable shelves here. As we move inside this compartment, you'll also find some additional 12-volt outlets. There is a 12-volt in the upper portion, rear vertical wall, and then also in the forward section, you'll find a Shoreline outlet. Once again, when plugged into Shoreline power, this outlet becomes active. In front of and rear of the rear axle, you'll find additional storage locations. These are for SCBA bottle storage and also oxygen bottle storage. 2 SCBA here with retaining straps and also an oxygen bottle storage. As we move to the axle itself, you'll find Goodyear tires and Alcoa wheels. As we move forward of this location, you'll find storage for 3 SCBA bottles with retaining straps. Just as a reminder, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle and protect this area when completing a regen. As we move forward to this location to the midsection, let's start at the very top section. First, starting with the cross lays. Same configuration and layout for these 2 cross lays as we have on the driver's side. As we move down, you'll find a warning regarding entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. Also, the number 4 passenger side discharge. As we move just to the right behind the pan door is where you'll find your water strainer and then also your intake relief valve. There are instructions for its operation on the placard itself. As we move down from this location, a warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, you'll find the large diameter and the 2.5-inch discharge. As we move further to the right, a warning placard here indicating fall. When climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Moving down to the bottom, you'll find the passenger side auxiliary inlet, 2.5 locally controlled female inlet. Also, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains are located across the very bottom section. You also have a pull-out running board located on the passenger side, release mechanism located on the right. As we move now to the cab section of the vehicle, we'll go ahead and go inside the cab, but first let's start with the door panel. A fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window controls, and grab handle. As we move toward the center section, you'll find your air conditioning unit, and then also as we move inside, the 2 forward-facing SCBA style seats. As we move now from this location forward, you'll find an additional storage compartment exterior access, and then also dry deck material LED lighting. Once again, Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheels, and the visual sight gauge indicated for the front axle. Let's move now into the officer area. We'll start first with the door panel, a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window control, and a grab handle. As we move inside, you'll find the fire bell rope located in the upper right-hand side. As we move down to the floorboard area, this is where you'll find the foot pedal for your mechanical siren activation. Let's move to the officer dash area. Let's start first on the far left where you'll find your AM/FM, Bluetooth, Sirius XM CD player, weather band radio. Also, you'll find storage location for resources. And then as we move toward the center, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style and then also USB style. I would like to point out you may find these red and white labels located throughout the vehicle. They're indicating warning, do not remove. There is spare wiring behind this panel. This is indicating, for example, the wire is for your antenna and it is a termination 2-way. It also has the verification information option number located on it. As we move to the center, you'll find additional storage in the front dash section. As we move overhead of the officer position, let's identify a few switches within this area. First, starting on the far left of the switch panel, driver side cab scene, front scene, passenger cab scene, siren brake for your mechanical siren, driver side body scene, rear scene, passenger side body scene, and alarm silence. Let's go ahead and go now to the rear section, fully enclosed covered hose bed. As we access inside, you'll find the 3 hose bed dividers. And then as we move toward the dunnage area, you'll find your booster line and then also your master stream device. Just forward of the dunnage area is where you'll find your top fill locations for foam tank A. On that tank, you'll also find a placard indicating warning, do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. Right next to that was your foam tank for water top fill. You'll also find your Husky foam system. This is the hydraulic reservoir. There is a visual indicator on the very front as to the fluid level. Also located in the dunnage is where you'll find your booster line or red line. There is top control here for an electric push button rewind, and then also a manual tool access and free tension spool knob on the reel itself. Also, you'll find your master stream device with an extend-a-gun. Moving from this location, you'll find in the cross lay on each side of the door, a indication that this is caution, no step area. As we move toward the forward section of the cab, you'll also find a few placards here. First, unit identifier 14, but on the outer edge, you'll find this caution and warning placard indicating this is a non-walking surface. The next set of images will be that of the chassis, engine, and transmission and underbody area. Pictured here is a tow loop for towing the vehicle. As we move to the driver's side of the vehicle, you'll find when tilting the cab fully upright, this is the safety bar that's put into place. Do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. It is required to have full pressure in both the right and left cylinder for use of the cab tilt. As we move to the front axle area, you'll find your vehicle is equipped with a TAC 4 front suspension. Located on the driver's side in the battery storage location, just underneath this area is where you'll find the positive and negative battery studs. You'll also find the hydraulic reservoir for the cab tilt. The next set of images you'll see are going to be that of the undercarriage from the midsection to the body and then back up to the front section. This will complete the chassis and frame images here. Let's move now to the front section of the hood. When you lift the hood, you'll find on the passenger side the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. On the driver's side, you'll find the coolant reservoir. You'll also find on the vertical wall instructions for tilting the cab. Also find on the very far right the yellow with the black knob. That is the remote for tilting the cab. It is a push button. Also, the red indicator is for raise or lower. And then to the very rear section, you'll find your power steering fluid just to the very far right. Congratulations, Eugene, Springfield, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36579. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.